welcome to today's video. Today, we are working on. Let's begin. Let's start reviewing vocabulary. First, I want you to please match the vocabulary to their meanings. Do you remember what breeding ground means? Well, it is an area where animals reproduce. Pause the video and match the rest of the words. Great, we'll check together in class. Now, pause the video again, match the words to their meanings. Great. Finally, pause the video one more time and match the words to their meaning. Great, we're going to check all of these meanings during our lesson. Now, here we have many adjectives. Please match their meaning. For example, archaic. Their synonyms would be obsolete and out of date. Pause the video and match the rest, please. Okay, let's check. Compact is small. Countless, many, a lot of, or something you cannot count. Elementary, rudimentary, or simple. Everyday, not special, standard or usual. Functional, practical, useful. Groundbreaking means creative, innovative, and new. Humble means modest or ordinary. Integral, essential. Major means big, important, or significant. And portable is easy to carry. Did you get this right? Excellent. Now, I want you to please classify these verbs into what they mean. Do they mean to attract or to deter? Let's do the first two. Alienate. Does it mean to attract or to deter? That's right, it means to deter. What about appeal? Well, that means to attract. Now pause the video and work on the rest, please. Great, we're going to check this during our lesson. Now, let's conversation. Here, as you can see, we have many phrases or even questions. What are they doing? Pause the video while you identify this. Okay, let's go ahead and check. So, what's more, it may help us be healthier in the long run. What's more is adding ideas. Well, not necessarily. You also have to consider that most people won't. In this case, not necessarily is saying that this person disagrees. However, there are other expressions to agree or to partially agree with someone. Then, let me put it this way. If we continue consuming practice this way, in this case, we're introducing a point. Don't you think companies should listen to their customers? We can use a negative question to persuade someone. In any case, there's no doubt the climate is changing. In this case, we are reaching a conclusion. Well, granted, it is nice to give something back to the community. Granted is saying that someone is making a good point. Now, let's go ahead and review grammar. So, if you remember, we talked about the future perfect and future perfect continuous. Now, we can use future perfect to express an action will be over by a certain time in the future. By next August, I will have finished my German lessons. When will I finish? Well, some point between today and August. Use the future perfect continuous to express an action will be in progress at a certain time. In just 2 months, I will have been working in my family's business for 11 years. Now, if you notice here, the structures are very similar. We are using will, have. For future perfect, just use the verb in the past participle form. finished. However, for the future perfect continuous, you will be using will have been working, ing. Now, we use by to introduce the time expression. We say exactly the moment, in this case next August. Use for to indicate the length of an action. And we use in to introduce the time expression in just 2 months. But if you see, we are not saying when these 2 months are. Okay, now, to please pause the video and complete these sentences using future perfect or future perfect continuous. Let's check number 1 and 2. By 2018, we will have been living in Madrid for 20 years. 2. He will have written a book by the end of the year. The rest we're going to check in class. Now, we can use preposition or prepositional phrases, and they can be followed by a noun phrase or an ing form. Look at the examples over here. We have in line with USGS definitions of rain per year, up to 8 days without drinking, as a result of experiencing, right? So we have noun phrases or ing forms. Now, if a preposition starts with an ing form, the verb has the same subject as the verb in the main clause. As a result of experiencing severe those terms, China started planting trees. Here, if you notice, the subject is China. China experiences severe dust storms, but also China started planting trees. It is the same subject. And if you see, we have an ing form after the preposition. Now, some prepositions can be followed by the expression, the fact that, and a clause. Antarctica is a desert, apart from the fact that it is one of the coldest places on Earth. The Gobi Desert has spread due to the fact that agricultural practices have changed. In this case, we added the preposition to because the subject is different. We have the Gobi Desert, for the first one, and agricultural practice for the second clause. Now, we use adverbs to modify verbs, adjectives, and even other adverbs. Now, they usually follow a common position after the first auxiliary verb, commonly be or have. GPS has already been incorporated into aircraft. It had originally been developed for military use. Other adverbs that use this pattern are already, always, apparently, continually, currently, finally, fortunately, just, long, probably, reportedly, sadly, since, and still. Now, adverbs that say how much, or that describe the participle tend to be used before that participle. Alternative to this, to the compass, were being intensively developed. It has been widely used. Some adverbs that use this pattern are badly, completely, largely, seriously, and widely. Great. Now, some others can be in both positions, and this would be continually, generally, increasingly, initially, largely, originally, and previously. You can pause the video and read the examples over here. Great, let's go ahead and continue. Now, we talked about the passive and past modal verbs. Now, this expresses something in the past that didn't happen, but that was a possibility. Like Melanie could have been badly hurt. Was she hurt? No. And in this case, she would have been hurt by someone else. We have the past modal could have and the passive been hurt. The kids shouldn't have been allowed to go to bed so late. We have the past modal shouldn't have, and the passive been allowed. Who allowed them? Probably their parents. He might have been adopted. We have our past modal and we have the passive. It ought not to have been permitted. We have, of course, the past modal ought not to have and the passive been permitted. Now, we can use the verb make with the passive, but it has a different pattern in the active or passive voice. They made him sleep in the police cells. If you notice, this is an active sentence. We know who did it. He was made to sleep in the police cells. In this case, we add to before our verb. Now let's go ahead and continue. We have pronouns and prepositions in relative clauses. Now, pause the video and read the examples. If you notice, we have the pronouns, right? Most of, all of, some of, and all of. Now, when we have these pronouns or even a preposition, we are going to use the relative pronouns which or even whom instead of who. Now, we use the terminers to provide information about nouns or even to introduce them. We use some, any, other, or another. However, they have different meanings. Some means certain, but not all. Lower prices will tempt some people. Any means it doesn't matter which or who. Any store that makes people feel at ease will probably generate more business. Other refers to extra, additional, or different people or objects. Stores need to find other ways to attract customers. Another means one more or a different one. Another store might offer self-service. Okay, great. Now let's go ahead and practice. Please go to your student book, page 72, exercise 1A. Here, we need to complete the passive verbs, adding the adverbs given. Now, there may be more than one word order. Also, you need to replace the words in bold with synonyms, changing a to an if necessary. Let's look at this. In 1954, Roger Bannister achieved a significant milestone. He ran a mile in under 4 minutes. This was something that had been previously seen as almost impossible. Now pause the video and work on the rest, please. Great, we're going to check during our lesson. Now, work on exercise 2A. You're still on page 72. Here, you need to unscramble the underlined verb phrases and then complete the relative clauses. In the last few years, the tiger could have easily been wiped off the planet by poachers. But the extinctions of tigers by innovative programs, some of which, right? We're using which because we're talking about programs. Pause the video and work on the rest, please. We're going to check in class. Great. Now that you finish, go to page 73, exercise 3B. Please complete the sentences using a form of the future perfect or future perfect continuous of the verbs in parentheses. If it's not possible, you might need to use simple present. Now, when you finish, add the words from the box. Let's see. Black Friday is the start of the holiday shopping season. By the time Black Friday arrives, retailers need to be ready. Most stores will have been preparing for the sales for weeks. Pause the video while you work on the rest, please. Great, we're going to check during our lesson. For exercise 3C, you need to rewrite each comment in two ways. First, as a negative question, and second, by adding a tag question. Look at the example. It is crazy to camp out all night until a store opens. Isn't it crazy to camp out all night until a store opens? Or, it's crazy to camp out all night until a store opens, isn't it? Pause the video and work on the rest, please. Excellent! Now, on exercise 4, you need to complete the prepositional phrases. Then, choose the correct words to complete the article. Let's see the first. Bald eagles are not actually bald, which may not be in line with most people's expectations. Northern eagles migrate but return to the same breeding ground. Now pause the video and work on the rest, please. Remember to have this ready for your lesson. We're going to check it then. Bye-bye!